And welcome back to another episode of Getting Down with the Brands, baby. You're here with your hosts, KFC, Mac the Buffalo, and Matty G. Manny Maxwell has actually fell inside the crock pot and he cannot get out. So,
That's
we give you the,
unfortunate.
yeah,
That's unfortunate.
he
Yeah.
got lost in the sauce.
Yeah, he
Uh,
did. That tends to happen to him. Thoughts and prayers to our guy. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I mean, Mac pointed out the
oh,
Stowe
man.
chart at the show. Kevin Stefanski is a better looking Freddie Kitchens. You know what, Mac? You're correct. And I also want to say, who told you that? Who told all these listeners on this podcast this week 2? I don't know. Who was that? I'm trying to remember. Mac,
We
KFC, do you
laughed
guys
right in your
remember?
face. We laughed right in
It
your
was
face,
me.
man.
It was
Right.
me.
He
You
had the
know,
pink slip ready. It was written in felt. It was
I
written in
was
felt pen, ladies and gentlemen.
I told everybody week 2 that Kevin Stefanski was a fraud, that he was born on third base and acting like he hit a triple. That without one of the most loaded rosters in the NFL, what was he but a fraud? And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, after the Cleveland Browns have played 13 games this year, it looks like once again Matty G hot takes after he was called a madman and dragged through the mud. People making fun of his football acumen, calling him a moron, too young to understand what was going on. But after 13 games, it looks like that the football gods have shown once again that Matty G hot takes was correct and that Kevin Stefanski is a fraud. So I hope your apology is just as loud as the disrespect was.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of wild to me, considering the fact that just how lost everything looks, especially on Stefanski's side of the ball. Now, don't let what production was there fool you. What's the difference if you were to just simply put a bag over both guys' heads and just kind of like look at their season, overwhelming talent, just weird stuff schematically on offense, and just a ton of penalties. Like,
Yeah.
what were it's just so like disorganized, and just even the little details with some of these players. I mean, you can look on the film. A great example yesterday was Mike Woods was supposed to down block.
Oh God,
What was it? A 4th and 1 with
Cameron.
the
Yeah, I
Cleveland
think it was on Cameron
run
Taylor.
inside.
It was
Yeah.
on Cam
So
Taylor
instead
Britt
of
who just blew
stepping
by him.
outside, instead of stepping outside to seal that gap, to basically because at that point you're creating a wall, right? So you just have to make sure that you're pretty much shoulder to shoulder with the next guy to you, on the whether that's I believe it was a tight end. I'm not sure, but anyway, he stepped right instead of stepping left. It's the little details like that. It's the DB room wanted to talk all week, but we didn't really see any of that on the field. I mean, granted, Denzel Ward did have a big hit, but John Johnson is still trailing tackles and, excuse my language, half-assing things, in my opinion, because I don't really want to necessarily sit here and just say, oh, just physically he's a half a step slower than every single receiver on the Bengals. I think that's a bit unrealistic. So I don't blame you. It just everything to me right now, and just looking yesterday, it just looks dysfunctional. Talented, but dysfunctional.
You mean to tell you what happened yesterday? The Bengals wanted the game more. They have hit their stride. They are looking for a Super Bowl return. That's what I saw from the Bengals yesterday. That tell me they haven't hit their stride. They just
but
considering the
KFC.
fact
they
that
just let me talk.
okay,
Trust me. Trust
I'll
me.
let you. I'll let you go.
Okay.
You go.
I'll let you go.
They just beat the Chiefs. Probably arguably the best team in the NFL.
Okay.
They beat the Chiefs by 3. They come in. What is the knock on Joe Burrow been before this week?
Couldn't beat
He
the Browns.
can't beat the Browns. They were locked in to get that win for their quarterback. They knew the Browns haven't been as good as they were expected to be this year, and rightfully so. Second week of Deshaun Watson. Watson looked a lot better going in from last week into this week, but you could still see he's still getting acclimated to game speed. But I'm not on the fire Stefanski train. You guys can say what you want. I'm not firing the dude. Give him what I mean. The Bengals are one of the best teams in the AFC. I know we thudded them a couple weeks ago, but they were without their man DJ Reader, and I didn't think that would be as big of a impact as it was. I mean, he ate Froholt and the guards all game long, stopped Nick Chubb, and took what Kevin Stefanski's game is known for away. And when you can stop Nick Chubb, I've never seen Nick Chubb get stopped like that, ever. Usually, I mean, they'll hold him for a half, and then he'll break out in the second half.
Yeah, but how many sweeps out of shotgun did we see? You could see it on film all game. The offensive line has had trouble, and the center's the weak point.
Mhm.
They don't look the same since Ethan Vochick went down. We've all talked about this. My problem is just where are the adjustments? Why don't you have Chubb run more downhill concepts? The screens turned out they're working. Maybe run a little bit more of them. Maybe instead of running like a sprint out with a quarterback that has had problems with his footwork last week. Like there's things that he still could have done, or at least
the 4th and 1 call.
Hear me out on that 4th and 1.
Oh no, we'll talk about that later.
I'm not even going to talk about Brissett going in on that. Did you guys feel that was marked short? Because I felt like it was, and I feel like we got marked short a couple times.
Yeah, but also keep in mind, I mean, the NFL is a political game. You're not going to get any calls from the officials with with Watson dragging through the mud. I think it was number 73 on the Bengals. I think I caught. I don't know. We kept trying to maybe. I was just to say 6, 7, 8 false starts for it wasn't even close. I will say that your boy Jed also got away with a bunch of false starts.
He did.
He's been doing that for weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will and that's another. We're talking about this. I think at the end of the season, I think screw moving Jed Wills to right tackle. I think you outright cut him. At this point, what is he doing for you?
I'd see them trading him before they'll cut him.
He leads the league in just standing there and watching guys as he's supposed to be blocking. He just every drive there's just a play where he's just standing there watching someone behind him. He's not even trying. And I don't know. As I'm watching something, KFC, do you hear this? It's odd.
Oh
something.
What is that noise?
Oh no, it's angry and hairy.
The buffalo herd.
Oh, hey Browns fans, don't jog to the bar in an attempt to get an early seat. It's not worth it. You walk in profusely sweaty, and the bartenders call you track star for the next 3 hours. This is Mac with the Buffalo Herd. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity as the Browns' 2-game win streak falls through, losing to the Kentucky Bengals 23-10. One of the biggest frustrations during the game was head coach Kevin Stefanski choosing to put in Jacoby Brissett on a 4th and 1 just to watch him overthrow a wide-open wide receiver downfield. Stefanski was asked about it, to which he replied with, "The analytics department determined it was the easier route and the smarter choice as we tried to advance the ball just 1 yard." After the game, officials were advised by the analytics department to have the team plane land in Pittsburgh and travel an additional 3 hours home via bus. One of the biggest reasons for the Browns losing this game were they were penalized 9 times for a total of 98 yards. Most, if not all of these flags, stalled offensive drives and led to points for the other team. Kevin Stefanski was clear after the game, stating, "We don't coach penalties." Well, hard to say they really do any coaching on the offensive side of the ball, as the Browns have scored 1 TD in the past 2 games. During the game, Browns kicker Cade York was visibly upset after not given the chance to attempt a 67-yard field goal. This makes sense, as the greatest kicker of all time, Justin Tucker, has yet to make one of those from that distance, and Cade has lost the team 3 games, missing attempts half that length. Speaking of the Ratbirds, next Saturday, Baltimore travels into town as the Browns hope to keep their 0.4 playoff chance. Wow, we still have a chance. Okay.
So Baltimore saying there's a chance.
Will likely be without their star QB Lamar Jackson and backup Tyler Huntley, leaving undrafted rookie Anthony Brown to start. This doesn't really change anyone's nervousness considering the Browns already lost to a QB who completed only 7 passes. This is Mac with the Buffalo Herd.
Let's go.
Did Anthony Brown go to Florida?
That I don't.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. Because I've heard that name before. Granted, I get it's a common name, but I've heard that name before.
He's an undrafted free agent too. Like if they,
I'm not for sure because I know last year it was Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson last year at quarterback, and before that was Kyle
Maybe he was a
Trask.
grad transfer. I don't know.
Pro
Yeah, they
Duck.
get the native Kyle Trask.
Is he from Oregon? Yeah, he's
Anthony
Oregon.
Brown. Yep, he's from Oregon. Yep, that makes sense. I remember.
So
I
he's the
remember that
guy
name from.
after Herbert.
Yeah, he's the guy. He beat Ohio State last year, so I remember that.
That's
Oh.
gotcha. But okay, so let's just recap the game. It wasn't a pretty one, not at all.
It was awful.
Yeah,
It was
awful.
not good.
But
awful.
let's talk positive because that's what we need right now. I know there's doom and gloom, but we need a tad bit of positivity.
Where, dude?
You mean to tell you where you saw it? You mean to tell you?
I could see.
Peoples Jones.
I was going to say DPJ is trying to come out into his own, even though that drop on 4th and goal was unacceptable. I mean, that was a dime by Watson. And the one thing I will say is I thought you could see some glimmers of why you paid $230 million guaranteed for Deshaun Watson. He made some throws. I mean, granted, that throw to DPJ right before the pick was one of the most impressive throws I've ever seen. And down the sideline, I swear to you, whenever he scrambles, whenever Deshaun scrambles, the field seems to get wider. I don't know how it is, but he seems to just dance along the sideline like a tightrope. He picked up at least one first down, if not 2 first downs, or I thought for sure he was going to get pushed out of bounds after a 1 or 2 yard gain, and he still advanced the ball 8 or 9 yards after that. That's just pure talent. Granted, you still saw some things from him where he showed some rust, like that the interception he threw he was targeting Donovan Peoples-Jones. If you watch the play art that Jake Trotter tweeted out, I think it was Jake Trotter, you could see DPJ streaking across the middle. Watson waited just a hair too long to unload. It gave Jesse Bates enough time to recover and jump the route. But overall, you could see but you saw improvements from Watson. He let them down the field numerous times. Overall, I would say that's probably 50 or 60% of Deshaun Watson that we're going to get of who we hope to get. But at the same time, there was legitimate improvement in Mac. I think you can see his footwork improved. He seemed to have a little bit more confidence, especially that first drive. He was slinging the ball. He got them down into scoring position very, very quickly. They were the 25-yard line. That's what made that 4th and 1 play to me so infuriating. Watson was cooking. He was 3 for 3 on the drive and picked up another 15 yards with his legs. Why would you not let your star quarterback try and pick it up? And they were running that very creative triple option with him, Kareem, and Felton a couple times. Chubb was in there as well. I don't know why they seemed to come, and it was working. They had kind of caught the Bengals off guard. And they seemed to completely move away from that for the rest of the game. And that's the story of the Stefanski era. Even go back to the Packers game last year, they were running the ball down the Packers' throats, and they just stopped running the ball and handed it over to a QB who threw 4 interceptions on Christmas Day. That is where my issue with Stefanski is. Stefanski calls the game he thinks should be happening, not the game that's happening. That's my diagnosis of the Stefanski era.
I agree. And before I absolutely completely obliterate that terrible 4th and 1 call, I'll say this. The read option and the play action, it was humming yesterday. And, I mean, look at the first couple throws of the game. It was play action. And the wide receivers are open.
Mm-hmm.
It eliminated the pass rush. I mean, those times that Watson was sacked, it was just simply he held on to the ball too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that comes with it as well because, he made some plays where, he extended it. He gave his wide receivers a little bit more time to get open, which is great. And then in terms of the read option, every time that he pulls that ball, I don't know, what he averaged over 5 yards a carry. Obviously there was there was a, median and in terms of data, but it almost seemed like a 5-yard carry every time that he pulled the ball. It was crazy to see, and it just adds something onto your offense. Now,
he was close to breaking one too. In the first quarter,
yes.
He was really close to breaking one.
If he didn't get tripped up, he looked like he was gone. Now, with that being said, that 4th and 1 call was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And in terms of so many levels. So personnel level, number 1, you have the quarterback that you paid $230 million. And he showed you earlier on the drive, play action, works a little bit. He can, he can get his feet set and he could deliver a good ball. And he's shown that early on in the game, when his footwork is good, he can deliver the ball. So you take him out and you put Brissett in. Okay. So it's 4th and 1 with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. How many yards do you need? You need 1 yard. Why is your 1 yard? 1 yard. That's 3 feet. That's you take 3 rollers, and you go 1, 2, 3. 3 feet, 1 yard. And what do? You bomb it down the field. Now, not only, and I can understand people are saying, oh, well, it's just a play call. If they got it, he would have been a genius. But statistically, they weren't going to get it. Jacoby Brissett has not been good this season on throws more than 10 yards downfield. And it's been statistically proven. So I have right here in front of me his last 3 games. So intended air yards, meaning when he's throwing the ball, how far on average is that ball going? Like, how far is he attempting on average? So the past 3 games, 9.2 yards, 8.4 yards, 11.4 yards. So now I'm going to go through in terms of what was actually completed. So you have you have his intended. He's trying to push the ball downfield, right? So here's the average yards in terms of the throws that he makes that are completed. 5.9 yards, 5.3 yards, 4.7 yards. So not only is it not you're not passing the film test, you're not like they preach all these times about like analytics and stats, and they just don't want to follow some of them. And I just don't understand it. You think that you're the smartest guy in the room because you're running play action, but the reason why you think that is because you're the only person dumb enough to do that. That's the thing. It's not the play action that bothers me. It's not the deep shot that bothers me. It's not that Watson's on the bench. It's like all of it together. It's so bad on so many levels. To the point where you could have literally just tried one other thing and it would have been better. It's not because as much as I want to just say take the points, kick the field goal, because by doing something so dumb on 4th and 1, that offense is trotting back. And here's what they don't incorporate, and here's what stats can't calculate. The disappointment in terms of an offense running out there and then coming off the field with no points. At least when you get a field goal, it's just like, hey, we did something. We're putting points on the board. We're getting somewhere. We gotta keep going. We'll break through. But when you keep coming off the field with zeros and you're not scoring anything, it does something for team morale. And as crazy as that sounds, I feel it's a real thing in the NFL. You need to get momentum.
Momentum's a real thing. And I know
for sure.
I know KFC, you love Kevin Stefanski. I don't understand why. But I think if you look at the situation, these are patterns, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn and pat myself on the back, but this is something I pointed out in week 2. If you notice, he doesn't really seem to improve. He doesn't really seem to learn from his mistakes. Let's be honest here. Have we ever truly seen him customize a game plan to an opponent on offense ever?
Tennessee.
That's one game. That is one game.
Bengals earlier this year.
Outside the Nick Chubb direct snap, I would not say that at all. He has the same kind of basic game plan. Maybe in the Tennessee game, because they took a little bit more shots and they tested the secondary. I mean, I'll give you KFC, like in both those games, there's a couple more like trick plays added in. Have they attempted outside that horrible Amari trick play against the Bengals? Have they done anything sort of trickery this year at all? Anything creative? No.
Jet sweep to Schwartz.
Yeah, the reverse.
Yeah, the reverse sweep.
I wouldn't even call that a trick play, though. They're not having, like, Jarvis threw 4 passes Stefanski's rookie year.
But we don't have that guy that can make those throws that plays a skill position like we did with Jarvis and Odell.
Maybe Njoku? Try something with Njoku.
Has he ever? I know, when we drafted him, he'd only played like a couple years of football. So I don't even know if he's played quarterback. Like, I know like Jarvis played quarterback in high school a little bit. Odell played a little bit. So, I mean, they kind of knew how to throw a football and, like, they could sling it, So that's why you saw a little bit more trickeration with them. Like, I don't think we have that in our skill position players like we did last year. That makes sense.
But I guess, but even then, like, if you look at, like, the game plan and that type of stuff, it's always the first drive. He's the king of the first drive. If you notice, outside of the game in Houston, the Browns come out ablazing like gangbusters on the first drive because that's what this plays that they script. He's a solid play scripter, but he's a poor in-game play caller. He doesn't seem to make adjustments. He doesn't hold guys in his coaching staff accountable. He's not like he's too mild manner of a head coach. Like he's not a head coach. He's a coordinator. Like you can like KFC, you can sit here and say that, oh, like I'm being too hard on Kevin. The Browns have lost 7 of their last 10 games. Like if you go through and like look, like eventually you have to start looking at the common denominator between how.
I get it. I mean, Kevin's not been the best play caller. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's the best coach ever. He's not.
But that's what he's here for. He's here for play calling.
I'm not.
He hasn't touched the defense. Special teams has been a mess. For
but
the 3 years he's been here. So
KFC, he could be like I'll be honest and say he's our head coach version of Baker. Baker got the franchise out of the mud, but you knew that he was never going to be able to take them to the promised land. If he was able to do that, he would have been able to beat Chad Henne in the AFC divisional round. And I think you're seeing that with Kevin Stefanski right now. The past 2 seasons, he's been asked to elevate the talent around him with his coaching and schemes, whether if he could do to injury or whatever. And has Kevin Stefanski done that? No, he has not. So why, if there's even a shadow of a doubt that Kevin Stefanski is your guy, even if there's one member of the front office that thinks Kevin's not our guy, why keep him next year and ruin not only Chubb and Miles' prime, but Adam Watson's prime? Cut ties, move on, and go find somebody else.
I'm not firing him. I think down the stretch, I think he's going to be a good coach. Hear me out. You keep him next year. You bring in a proven defensive coordinator, a guy like Mike Zimmer, who has actually coached a team.
Mike Zimmer's not coming in. No, Mike Zimmer's not coming back into coaching. That ship sailed.
You get a guy like that. Get a Brian Flores on the defensive coordinator.
He's not hiring Brian Flores.
Just hear me out. A guy like that's what I'm saying. You get a guy with proven that has coached before. If Kevin Stefanski is not your guy, you'll be able to tell by week 4, week 5 next year. You fire him, and then you promote that guy.
But who's to say that he doesn't fall on the sword once again for Joe Woods?
He's not. There's no way they bring him back next year. There's no way. No way.
I don't know, man.
Does this kind of coaching staff kind of just seem to just have excuses kind of for everything, right? Yeah, and just the answer is, oh, well, it's not that simple. But here's the thing. If the Browns defense was actually coached well yesterday, they would have beaten the Bengals.
Yeah. The Bengals didn't play that great. The Bengals didn't play that well.
T. Higgins.
They didn't have Tyler Boyd.
They didn't have Tyler Boyd because he left like 3 plays in due to a hand injury. And, there wasn't a single time yesterday where they double covered Jamar Chase. There wasn't a single time. Ask any legitimate coach in the NFL that understands defensive concepts, and they will do what Belichick does to people, where make the other guy beat you. Because here's the thing. Look at Jamar Chase's stats and everybody else's. So here's Chase right here. 15 targets, 10 receptions, 119 yards and a touchdown. So here's everyone else. So everyone else, including tight ends and running backs and anybody that catch the pass. 8 receptions, 120 yards. And one of them was on a BS flea flicker.
Yeah, that was annoying. I mean, once you saw the ball get pitched back to Joe Burrow, you knew it was gonna be a touchdown. You knew that defense was gonna get completely full. And the thing is, like KFC, like it's admirable how much you're trying to defend Kevin. It really is. But you gotta understand, man, your heart's in the wrong place. Like if we're being completely honest here, and the reason why he's not hiring Brian Flores, let's go back to the report that Watson and Brian Flores wanted to team up. Why would Stefanski hire potentially his replacement? If we're gonna be completely honest here, give me one good reason why Kevin should keep his job. One good legit reason that's not continuity. Because continuity is a kind of a BS reason if it's not working.
Well, he's not had his franchise quarterback yet for longer than 2 games.
Yeah, he has. Baker Mayfield. But I just saw Kyle Shanahan I just saw Kyle Shanahan beat the GOAT 35-7 with Brock Purdy.
With an undrafted quarterback, a dude that was literally, they call him Mr. Irrelevant.
Exactly.
That's his nickname. That's what.
And he scored 3 touchdowns yesterday.
Knows him as.
Okay. Cool. The defense locked up. Defense looked great.
They scored 35 points. They scored 35 points.
Yeah, they locked down on defense too. I mean, I watched them.
That's sweet. Yeah, but they still scored 35 points. You can't win every game 35-35. Let's also look back. Mike Vrabel. Ryan Tannehill is really not that good. Let's be honest, he's really not that good. He was awful last year. Yet the Titans were still the number 1 seed. Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, he's okay. That division is a little bit better than you think it is because the Colts always kind of come to play. The look at the Jags. They got the Jags will come out of nowhere, and the Jags always win 1 or 2 games that division.
And Trevor Lawrence has been on a tear.
Yeah, he has. Trevor Lawrence has looked a lot better.
Now, Grant brought up a great point. If Pittsburgh does fire Mike Tomlin, throw everything I've ever said about Kevin Stefanski, you better fire him on site. You don't even fire him in a meeting. You send him a Snapchat or a text message. You give him the pink slip, the Matty G pink slip, and you go straight to Pittsburgh, straight to his house. You kidnap him. You bring him to Cleveland. Put him in a vault somewhere, and he's not walking out unless he's signed by the Cleveland Browns.
And that right there is telling you that Kevin Stefanski isn't the coach for the Cleveland Browns.
No, exactly. I just think Mike Tomlin's that good of a coach. Now, listen. The only way I'm fine with firing Stefanski at the end of the year is if there's a bona fide coach that you can go find, like a Mike Tomlin.
But why? What's the argument of keeping Stefanski here? It's for the offense.
Yeah.
If you're willing to hire just any other coach to come in here and do this, that means that
Mike Tomlin's different.
Value isn't that great. Mike Tomlin right now has Matt Canada, who is easily the most made fun of coordinator in the face of the NFL right now. It's literally a meme about how much like Steelers. You think we're bad about Joe Woods? Those guys over in Pittsburgh, they are relentless about.
They would stab Matt Canada in a dark alley if they had the chance. Yeah, that tells you KFC that he's not the coach for you. I'll tell you right now, there's a couple coordinators that have been kind of talked about in head coaching circles that I'd be interested in, like DeMarco Ryan, defensive coordinator for the Niners. And you see what Robert Saleh's doing with the Jets. Kyle Shanahan produces great assistants at a high level. Robert Saleh's outballing with the Jets. Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins.
And it's not even Kevin Stefanski's offense. It's Gary Kubiak's. It's Gary Kubiak's offense. This isn't a brand new thing.
See, the thing is I just want to see Deshaun and Stefanski. I want to see them throughout the remainder of the season. That's all I want to see. And if they click by the end of the year, then extend them. If they don't, if we go, I said this in the group chat earlier. I said if he's 7-10 at the end of the year, that's it. That's gone. If we're 8-9, I think he saves his job.
The only chance that they have is Ethan Pochik coming back and then the run game being at full strength again.
He should be back.
I fully expect them to lose to Baltimore on Saturday. I think they'll lose to Baltimore. I think they'll lose to the Commanders too. I think they'll get mollywatched by the Commanders. That Commanders defensive line is going to eat the Browns offensive line for breakfast. Montez Sweat. Joe Woods came from the 49ers, but Joe Woods was a defensive backs coach, and he was there for a year. He wasn't part of the Shanahan system where Mike McDaniel worked for Kyle Shanahan since he was the wide receivers coach for the Browns, yelling at Johnny Manziel on the trick play. You can't say the same thing about Joe Woods. And Joe Woods was also a failed defensive coordinator with the Denver Broncos. Fun fact, the Broncos defense got better after Joe Woods left. Food for thought right there. So nice try, but again, I get what you're going for, but you can't compare the same way that you can with Robert Saleh, some of these other guys.
See, that's the thing though, is I just want to see why we brought Watson in and why we brought Stefanski. I want to see them mesh. I want to see the franchise quarterback play within Stefanski's system just a tad bit longer. I want to see if they can have a promising future, carry into next year.
But why,
like you said, momentum.
Waiting and see. Though you know what I mean? Why isn't it
like Matty G said before the season? He said this is pretty much a preseason for next year. I remember him saying that earlier.
Why is that the mentality? Why don't you empty your pockets? Why don't you put everything on the table? I don't understand it.
Here's the thing is KFC. If we're being completely honest here, ever since the Jets game, which was a complete and total colossal failure, that's mostly on coaching, Kevin Stefanski has had the chance week in and week out to kind of make up for that. and he has not done so. And if you continue to kind of look at the situation, the issue is coaching. And
Yeah,
I get not.
Grant brought up a good point. He said if they lose to the Ravens on Saturday, he's packing up the stuff on Monday. I agree to that. I agree. There's no way. There's no way that they can go.
Undrafted, yeah.
If
Undrafted QB.
See,
that
but
you're
that's
going
the
up
thing.
against,
I think
I'd say
they'll
so.
start to get it together a little bit over the next few weeks.
I'll
And
tell you right now,
I don't think we're making
Ravens
the playoffs.
defense.
That's out.
Ravens defense is. I mean, they just got back Marcus Williams. Kyle Hamilton really worries me about Watson. He's a very versatile safety. He can play in the box. To me, he's a guy that you can look to take away the run game. Justin Houston and Calais Campbell are ancient, but they're still very, very good pass rushers. And do they have Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey both healthy, or is one of those guys out?
Peters played Sunday.
Yeah, Peters played that. I don't know about.
Yeah, because I watched a little bit of it, and I watched a couple of plays, and Deontay Johnson got him on one like a push off. But
like, I don't know, guys. This just like I told Mac before the show. This reminds me a lot about the fall of Robert Chizinski. I just think that this is gonna be the end of Kevin Stefanski. I don't see them beating the Ravens. I just don't. I think they're going to lose to the Ravens. I think they'll barely squeak out the Saints. And even the Saints, if they got I can see Chris Olave given the Browns defense fits. I don't know, guys. Like, I don't feel the only team I think they're guaranteed to beat the rest of the way is Pittsburgh.
I think
That's
got
it.
the Ravens. I think we got them Saturday.
I mean, that's what you think, bro. It's just
KFC, if I would have showed you Joe Burrow's first half highlights, first half stat line where he was like 9 of 21 in his final stat line, would you have thought the Bengals would have comfortably won 23-10?
I would have wanted to see the other stats too on the other side.
Which you just told me no, you didn't. So that kind of tells you kind of where we are with the Browns, because that's the thing is, if you look, Joe Burrow did not really play that well, for being completely honest. He had a couple. I mean, he was horrible in the first quarter, and the Bengals still won comfortably.
Hey.
Agreed.
My uncle's Polish, okay? And he makes some damn good kielbasa. All right? Don't be with the accusations, okay? I understand
I'm all
things are
for it.
heated, okay?
I'm here for it.
And I love Poonskis, okay?
What?
I put that on
Pierogies
record. Put that on record. I love
Pierogies never miss. I would like Joey
for
Chestnut
sure.
eating
That
47 of those. 47 of those babies in like 3 minutes, whatever it was.
You get the the sautéed onions, with a little bit of sour cream.
Oh
on it too.
yeah. Sour cream. No. I'm a ketchup guy for my pierogies.
I've
So
heard of
close to having a
pierogies,
moment. We were
I-
so close to having a moment. You said ketchup.
I've never had a pierogi. I'm gonna be honest.
What?
I don't
But then
live up
again-
there. I
but
don't
again,
live up
it's the-
there.
Then again, it's the South.
Okay,
Then again, it's the
so
South. He probably doesn't even know how to pronounce.
We'll add it to your Cleveland.
We'll add it to
bro.
the
For
list.
You gotta-
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, KFC. I'm impressed you even know how to say pierogi correctly. I figured you would have called it like a
Wait.
pierogi or a, I don't know,
So what do
Wait,
you guys
there's-
call the river up there?
Wait.
Cuyahoga.
See, I call it Cuyahoga.
I say Cuyahoga, but
Depends who you
also
talk
I'm
to.
not- Yeah,
Depends
I'm
who you
not-
talk to.
I don't
I'm-
have the Cleveland accent, so
Yeah, you guys talk like this. Parma. That's my favorite word to say. Like, that's the only word I can say. And isn't a north
Parma.
accent? It's Parma.
Yeah, well, look, I think when it comes down to it, and let's look at this, I think also, and I don't know if you can 100% make this right away, I think you really have to start questioning Andrew Berry's talent evaluation. And if you start thinking that his ability to evaluate talent is not good enough, you might have to replace him too. Because I know he's your boy, he's your hero because he played at Kentucky, because he's from Kentucky and yada yada. Jed Willis is a complete and utter failure.
See, I've been on the train. Like, I don't think his effort's been good the last few weeks, and I'm starting to see it. But I think that where he is a first-round pick, and you know how that goes with any general manager, your first-round pick, you're going to keep.
The Browns like pedigree. They like pedigree. Like Taven Bryan was a first-round pick. They like taking chances. Kevin Johnson was a first-round pick.
there's
Go
a
back.
reason why Taven Bryan was available.
Exactly.
Which
That's the thing.
he's been stepping it up the past
He's
few
been
weeks.
okay.
Nope.
He's been
Nope.
Slightly better.
He's
Throw
been
on
better.
The tape, dude. He is out of gas.
Okay,
Pass
listen,
rush, yes. Pass
I
That's
rush,
wish
absolutely.
Malik McDowell didn't get drugged. I'll say it all. That's
Yeah.
all I'll say
Yeah.
when watching that.
I remember me and Mac talking about that. We were like big on the bring back Malik McDowell, and then that situation.
Malik McDowell should have been a Pro Bowler last year, in my opinion. Malik McDowell was very, very good. I don't think people understand him, and like the two Maliks last year, they weren't great, they weren't elite, but they were so much better than what we have right now.
I'd take them a million times out of a million compared to what they have now. No
like Togiai is unplayable. Jordan Elliott's had like 2 or 3 good games, but he's not great.
So,
I will say this: Scooter is low key upped his game the past few weeks. He's made a couple plays.
Hold up. What if like since he wrecked the scooter, what if it like knocked him into like being better?
Knocked some sense into him.
Yeah.
Gave him powers like in a comic book.
Yeah, he got struck by lightning or something.
Or like in the Rookie of the Year movie or whatever, where the kid plays for the Cubs, he like breaks his arm and like they like heal it incorrectly and it throws like Henry Rowinger like and he now like is like 12 and can throw like 105 miles an hour or whatever.
So question.
Maybe that's.
Sorry to cut you off.
God.
You know, Jesse Bates looked really good in the game. Do you think the Browns clear out some cap space and go after a really good safety in Jesse Bates?
They bring back JJ3 for another year.
No way.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
See,
okay.
okay,
So we talk about Jed Wills and and his effort and whatever. Like
all I will say while we're slandering JJ3, the one thing I will say is he's a very nice guy. I met him over the weekend at a Cavs game. He is a very nice guy. I can attest to that. Football playing effort is shaky. We can say that, but I can tell you he's a very nice guy. We saw I got to dap him up. Grant got to dap him up too. I went back into the club area and he was like signing autographs for kids. Well, at least say he's a good guy. We got to remember, we're being positive. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
His football effort can be questioned.
And you know what he is really good at?
Missing tackles.
Trailing every single receiver by a solid 2 yards. He's also really good at putting his shoulder into people and not wrapping up.
That Samaje Perine play was ungodly terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I didn't even rewatch it. I didn't want to. I couldn't bring myself to watch that because everybody just stopped. And that's the if you want to take a play and you want to summarize what the Kevin Stefanski era has been all about, it's that.
Yes, sir. He's right. There's no passion.
Why
There's no vision
are you
on the
stopping
team.
before the whistle?
So MC says get a left tackle and move Wills to right tackle next season.
That's MC. That's an interesting idea, but it doesn't fix the effort problem.
Yeah,
it doesn't fix that. It doesn't fix that. Jed Wills is more interested on playing on Call of Duty Extra Points Weekend or Halo or whatever than learning about football. And that's like a legitimate thing. I guess number 6 had a COD partner last year when he was when he was up to like 5 a.m. Before
Halo.
the Christmas Eve game.
Halo.
Yeah, sorry, Halo. Sorry, never played Halo. Heard it's a crappy game. So
can't confirm. I never played it either.
People are going to be upset with that one, Matty G. I can tell you that straight up.
He's a PlayStation guy. Anyways, so, shaky game. Browns got to bounce back this Saturday. But, I got to talk to the boys earlier. Talked about a new segment called Over or Under Reaction.
oh boy, here we go.
So I've got 3.
Okay.
Are you ready for this one?
All right.
I think you guys are going to like this one, the first one.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
First one.
This is fun. We're having fun.
This is, okay, if the Browns finish 7-10, Kevin Stefanski gets fired. Over or under reaction?
Underreaction. I think if it's 8-9, he gets fired. Honestly, I think they're not going to tolerate another losing season. I mean, I think at this point, because especially if you go back and it's not the record necessarily, but it's how you got to the record. Because if you didn't have the greatest class in NFL history, you would in this hypothetical scenario where they went 8-9, you would be 9-8. You could keep going back and just seeing wins on the table, like going through the schedule, just seeing all these wins left on the table. It's painful, and there's nothing left to blame but coaching at that point. And I think that you're going to see Jimmy grow impatient. And let's look down. We all trash and crap on Zach Taylor, but the Bengals are a lot like Pete Davidson. I can't figure out how they do it, but they get it done.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That is a good one.
It's like Pete Davidson. That's messed up.
So, next.
Yeah, no, I definitely say underreaction. Just like Matty G said, you see the wins on the schedule and you just get nauseous. Because here's the thing, even without having Watson for the first 11 games, every single one except for what the Patriots game and the Dolphins game, they were in every single game.
You could legitimately argue they should have been 9.
A lot of teams have the franchise quarterback and they don't even get that lucky.
They legitimately, you could argue that they should have beaten every team but the Dolphins and Bills. Even Dolphins and Patriots, excuse me. Even the Bills game, I really think they should have won that game. They were dominating the Bills in the first half, and their own incompetence let the Bills get the lead before half. And even they made things interesting with the Cade York onside kick at the end. That was very, very close to us having something else to talk about. But this KFC is why I think Kevin just isn't the guy. There's coaches, which I'd heard from someone previously, there's coaches that kind of get you out of the mud and turn you into a competent franchise. And there's coaches who take you to the promised land. I think Kevin Stefanski is what Baker Mayfield is. I mean, the parallels here are uncanny.
You're saying he's the DeMar DeRozan to the Kawhi for the Raptors?
Yeah, no, I think exactly. And we've seen this across sports. We've seen this across different, whether it be football, like Jared Goff to Matt Stafford. We've seen this all across sports. This is not uncommon, and it's unfortunate. Kevin's a good dude. He's done a lot for the community. He got let's even be honest here. He's never won a playoff game. Mike Prefer won that playoff game. I think that's the other thing that we have to keep in mind. Kevin Stefanski's 0-1 in the playoffs, and he got thoroughly outcoached by Andy Reid in that playoff game. He didn't beat the Steelers. Mike Prefer did. And I think that's another thing is that he sometimes gets a little bit too much credit.
Well, I mean, look at the standings right now, just across the league. Who's got a better record than the Browns? A lot of teams that don't nearly have the talent. And it's the
Detroit Lions have a better record than the Browns.
Yeah. And as great as Dan Campbell is as a coach and as a leader and as a motivator, you can't take those rosters side by side and just say, yes, Detroit's definitely better.
I really like Jameson Williams right about now.
I like their O-line. I love it.
They do have a good O-line. I will say that. They do.
I love it.
And they have I argue that their running back duo has been better than our running back duo this year. Chubb's the best of the 3 running backs, but I'd say both Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift have been better than Hunt.
Well, Jamal leads the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I
can confirm our fantasy team has
as a DeAndre Swift owner, that pains me. So, but if you look across, there's Kevin seems like Kevin loves to point the finger. He loves pointing the finger, whether it was Baker, whether it was at his assistant coaches, whether it was at, I think one time he blamed COVID, all that type of stuff. You know what happens when you point the finger at somebody? There's 3 of them pointing right back at you. And what the problem with this franchise is Kevin Stefanski.
It's just
so for the next
it's hard.
Over and under reaction. The Browns trade cornerback Denzel Ward to free up cap and get a first round pick.
Overreaction, they're not getting a first round pick for Denzel Ward. I think they'll get a 3rd or 4th at this point with his contract and lack of production.
I wouldn't say necessarily that bad, but I'm kind of on par with Matty G here. Just simply the fact that I don't think he's worth a first round pick at this point. I definitely wouldn't do that. If I was a coach and I had my ear kind of close to the ground, now granted, as a Cleveland fan, I do think that John Johnson's the problem, not Denzel Ward. But his comments and his play earlier in the season definitely worry me as a GM. Especially with his contract, first round pick is kind of hard for a cornerback, considering that I don't think that Denzel Ward is what we thought he was. Just just plain as that. And like I don't know if it's just injury. I don't know if it's scheme. But you put on his most recent tape, and it's just
ugly.
No, it's
not
not
pretty.
Yeah,
he got cooked by Jamar yesterday.
Yeah.
Over or underreaction? The Browns go on a spending spree this free agency and sign 2 big defensive tackles.
I'm so glad I looked up this number today. $2.697 million. That's how much the Browns will have in 2022. Underreaction. They can't afford it.
Exactly.
There's a reason why they had to option Conklin's. Now granted, Conklin really hasn't played the best, so I'm not really sure if they're interested in re-signing him, but he's gone after this year. We talked about it earlier. JJ3's gone. Clowney more than likely. I mean, they're not going to be able to repay Clowney the number that he wants because you know him. He's going to want more money. So, they're definitely going to spend some money to fill some holes, but it's not going to be big bucks.
Tier 2, tier 3 free agents. That's a huge overreaction. KFC. They're like, even if you restructure Watson, like they're in such a hole. I'll be completely honest. This is going to kill me. I was not a fan of them paying Teller or Denzel Ward. I thought those were both bad decisions.
See, I liked Ward. I thought what we paid him was a little bit more than what I anticipated. I think that we clear cap space though, and I think we do get a good defensive tackle. I think with getting rid of JJ3, that opens up about $9 million, I believe, or puts us up to $9 million in cap space. I think that there's going to be a few cuts. I think that they cut both defensive tackles that are already on the roster because Tavon Bryant won't actually be on the roster next year. I think they'll cut
it's a one-year deal.
Yeah, I think they'll cut ties with Togia and Jordan Elliott. Which frees up a little bit more, bumps it up to 12. You could test the water on a restructure from Amari, see how that goes. And if you can, and then also, the league does jump up in salary cap because viewership's been up. So we don't know how that's going to shape out.
That'll jump up by $5 million, maybe.
Friendly reminder: you do need $8 million to pay your draft class because usually it's about 9 to 10, but that's with teams that have a first round pick. Browns do not next year. So, yeah.
So, who do you think that the surprise cut would be?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to shock some people, but it's not going to shock me. And I hate, Matty G, you said it right. You met the guy in person. He's a nice guy, but you need a guy that can close at safety. And the Browns have not had that guy since,
TJ Ward.
They kind of had it with TJ Ward and Deshaun Gibson.
I would say
Gibson
Deontay
was more of the
Whitner
cover guy.
Played good.
Deontay Whitner had 7 good games for the Browns in 2014.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in spurts, but they don't have that closer guy. They don't have the aggressive safety. When you game plan for the Browns defense, where are they attacking? Down the middle. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They don't care because they know that Grant Delpit literally needs a GPS to find his own coverage, and JJ3 is going to be 2 steps behind the ball anyway. So. They need that enforcer, but the only problem with that is that not only do they need a safety, but they still need somebody to rush the passer with Myles Garrett. Because you had a couple pass deflections by Clowney, by Alex Wright, but
has Alex Wright had a sack this year? Has Alex Wright had a sack this year?
Nah, I don't think so. But I know he's had. The only thing I think he's got. He's got like 3 pass deflections. Yeah. He's been
because he's 6'7".
Yeah,
because he's 6'7". That's what I would expect. Yeah, no, I mean they're screwed. Let's be honest here, they're screwed. Like they really are. I mean they missed on some picks that were too key. Like even a guy like Curtis Weaver didn't pan out, who they picked up from the Dolphins. on waivers. He had that great year, I think, at Boise State, where a lot of people thought he'd be a big pickup.
Mhm.
He really hasn't done much. Defensive line's a disaster. And even going back to Dorsey drafted Major 9, the Browns have just never been able to find someone to pair with Myles Garrett. They just haven't been able to. Clowney's been a disaster this year. And you see some with Isaiah Thomas, but I think with Isaiah Thomas, he's your best. You're developing your own version of Adrian Claiborne or Tack McKinley, your third rusher. If you look at they're screwed. I mean, I hate being this way. And on some food for thought, someone pointed out to me, Browns drafted Emerson really high. Emerson and Newsome are both naturally outside corners by trade. Do you think that Andrew Berry planned to trade Denzel Ward last offseason and Jimmy stepped in and said no and asked him to keep the hometown boy? I actually think when you put it like that, yeah. Because keep in mind, both Ward and both Emerson and Newsome are outside corners.
Wasn't the Ward deal done before we picked Newsome? Or before we
Ward
picked
deal
Newsome?
was done. Ward deal was done in May, wasn't it?
I thought it was before Watson. Or
No, that's a
I'm-
joke that it was before Watson. I want to
That's
say
right.
Ward might have been late May, maybe even early June. The Ward deal was later. It was right before training camp, I want to say.
See, would there be a cap hit since it was fully guaranteed?
April 20th, which would have been
pre-draft.
Yeah, right before the draft. Okay. Guess never mind then.
So do you think that?
Well, but I mean, let's be honest here. The Emerson pick was to eventually replace Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you think
he
that
was
they
the
have a game
insurance
plan?
policy.
Do you think they have a game plan to trade him in the offseason maybe because of the lack of production this year?
Dead cap is going to be very tough to deal with. I want to say it's $20 million in dead cap. Mac, do you want to go on Spotrac? What does Spotrac say for dead cap?
Oh, I thought it was Spot Track. Wow. Okay.
Is it Spot Track or Spotrac?
I thought it was
Track.
I thought it was Spot Track. But then again, I seriously might be illiterate. Let's see here. Dead cap. So
What's his
for
hit?
next year,
It's like an $80 million cap hit, dead cap hit, isn't it?
Pretty dang close to it. Because $39 million in 2023, 27 mil, 24, 19, 11, and then last year of his deal in 2027, $3 million. So yeah, no.
Yeah, you're stuck with Denzel Ward. You're stuck with them.
I don't know if anybody wants to pay that. That's the thing, and
you might be
because that dead.
If you got if you took a later pick for him or something, probably get it off the cap.
But you just told me you were expecting a first round pick.
No, I said over under reaction. Those are just questions. I'm not saying that
gotcha.
I think that we could trade him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think my hope would be with that contract would be a fourth, be a third or a fourth. I mean, here's the thing is this is why I think you have to start questioning Andrew Berry because they're starting to really hurt on some picks. Like Anthony Schwartz in the third round hurts. And even not even just from receivers. Imagine how much different this Brown season might have gone if you swap out Anthony Schwartz for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt bad. Bad.
Yeah. Or even if you want to go talk about corners, imagine taking Sean Wade over Richard LeCount, Sean Wade's had some good moments on special teams this year for New England. If you go back, you can go and look at all of Andrew Berry's picks. I think the one that hurts me the most still is Delpit over Antoine Winfield Jr.
Yeah, that one hurt me too because I wanted Winfield just.
You know what the messed up part about it is? They were like, "Oh, well, Antonio Winfield, he's got injury history. He's too small. He's not going to be physical enough."
Oh man, but
yeah,
who did we take in the third round of that draft? I'm trying to remember now.
Was it Phillips or
yeah,
it
was Phillips?
Too early?
Phillips. You imagine Phillips if we would have taken like Zach Bond or Malik Harrison or there's somebody else.
I don't know what happened to Jacob Phillips.
He was good in college.
Well, he was good in college. He was a very sure tackler. I mean, the only problems that his rookie year and last year was just, he was just not healthy. He had the knee issues his rookie year. Then it was the torn bicep.
Well, even the Pittsburgh game, he looked really good.
Well, the Pittsburgh game, he was great. It was the Atlanta game. That's when everything started to, unfold, and he just looked lost. I don't know. I
just think that there's going to be some player overturn next year. I think
Yeah.
we'll see some surprise cuts or trades, like some
Well,
that'll
yeah,
shock us.
I mean, they're gonna have to. I mean, we were just sitting here crunching numbers.
Yeah.
Even with rollover, they're
Which-
gonna have to move some cap around.
Which you never know, like on the cap, like
All
the
right.
increasing crap.
Sorry, I just looked up
Crap.
something from the draft. So,
What's
all
that?
right, imagine how much different this Browns defense would be if instead of taking Jacob Phillips, you take Alex Highsmith, who went 5 picks later.
Alex Highsmith went 5 picks later.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
One thing I've noticed about Andrew Berry,
And my picture just fell. Nice. Oh, you want a summary of this Brown season? That's literally it.
yeah,
So we might as well clip that for later.
yeah, that's definitely getting clipped.
Oh my god.
But one thing I've
least
noticed
the
about
screw's
Andrew
still there.
Berry is he likes to pick high prestigious schools.
Yeah, he's not
Like,
a small.
well-known.
He's not a small school guy. UAB was very
that
out of
was-
characteristic for him.
Yeah, because I mean, Jedrick Wills, Bama, Grant Delp, LSU, Phillips, LSU, and I mean, there's a couple of Georgia players.
Jordan Elliott, Missouri, but
Missouri.
still Southeastern Conference.
I mean, that's still a bigger school. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like these like North Dakota State picks like that. Like, you
Yeah.
don't really see that from Andrew Berry.
Browns aren't taking an FCS player.
Yeah, except Alex Wright. That was like the first one I think he's took. And I might be wrong on that, but it's one of his first that he's took.
I know some draft analysts were really high on Alex Wright. I just don't see what they saw. I just don't see it.
His
It's
size.
it's the length.
Well, like
It's
I mean,
the length and his ability. So I will say this: he is just he's a defensive tackle that people just bumped out to outside, and I mean it just looks like I mean that's what he primarily played a lot in
Mhm.
college was he was playing inside, and he actually played pretty well. The only problem is that he was just too light in his legs.
And I'll agree
So-
with this. MC said an elite defensive coordinator will help these guys improve drastically. I'll agree to that.
But would Stefanski hire an elite? I mean, and granted, I could be completely wrong because I've never met the guy. But Stefanski, to me, a lot of the reason why it didn't work out with Baker, it's the ego thing. He's fallen on the sword 2 years in a row.
See, the
with
thing
Joe
is-
Woods. Does he hire that elite?
One
defensive
thing I've
coordinator,
noticed is he likes, like Matty G said, he does point fingers, and he pointed the big finger at Baker last year as the scapegoat. Do you think he does the scapegoat on Joe Woods this year and be like, hey, our defense sucked this year. Has to be Joe Woods. We got to get him out of here. Bring in a different guy.
I don't think it gets to that point unless Jimmy Haslam is just honest with him and just goes, hey, if you don't can this guy, I'll can both of you.
Yeah.
If it gets to
That's-
that point, absolutely.
A lot
They
of
were
people
worked
hate
for the
He's gonna make
Vikings
this job,
together
but-
for years. They're buddies.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to fire Joe Woods.
See,
Yeah.
the thing with Jimmy Haslam, a lot of people don't like him, but I love Jimmy Haslam because he does not care. He will pull the trigger at any moment. Like the Deshaun Watson trade does not happen unless Jimmy Haslam steps in. Let's be real.
No, that's not true.
That's
not true at all.
He definitely opened up. He told them to go get him.
No, you understand. I know KFC, you're not from around here, so you're not going to get some of the same media coverage. There's been numerous very well-regarded media people who have said Jimmy Haslam didn't want to move on from Baker, that it took a lot of convincing from both Stefanski and Barry to show him the numbers, to be like, look what we could have done with someone outside of Baker Mayfield last year. It's been reported by numerous media outlets.
I know, but that first when they came back empty-handed, he got on that plane and went down there, and he made sure he got him.
Well, he
because
had
he
to.
was- That's what I'm
He
saying.
already
He
lost
made it
game.
happen.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is KFC is that you can't say that Jimmy Haslam wants to take the big swing because he will take the big swing, but it takes convincing. The other thing is that he's very, very loyal to his guys. Think about Johnny Manziel. Everyone knows the story that allegedly the draft card on it said Teddy Bridgewater, and Jimmy Haslam made Ray Farmer change it and have it say Johnny Manziel. Haslam stuck by Johnny. Haslam's love for Johnny basically derailed the Browns making the playoffs in 2014. The Browns were a playoff team in 2014. Jimmy Haslam sabotaged it because he was behind the scenes wanting to play Johnny over Hoyer.
No. The only thing that pokes through a hole in that argument is Alex Mack getting injured. Now, if Alex
That's
Mack
true.
would have
Alex
stayed
Mack
healthy,
getting hurt
yes,
is a huge,
absolutely.
huge point.
But
That's
I 100% agree with you.
because I mean the Browns defense of 2014 was lockdown.
Oh,
Remember what they
nasty.
did to the Colts that year? They scored 2 defensive touchdowns on the Colts.
Justin
That-
Gilbert.
Justin Gilbert had a
What?
pick 6 that game against freaking Andrew Luck. That Colts offense, I want to say they led the league in scoring, and the Browns completely shut them down. So what
Well, how about the thromping against the Steelers? That was awesome.
they
Oh,
won
yeah.
like 31. They won like 31-10. But I want to say they gave the Steelers like a gift touchdown, like 15 seconds left. The defense like just
See,
completely owned the Killer Bees offense because that was,
I was
prime
at that,
Le'Veon, prime AB.
Bengals Browns game that year in Cincy.
Oh,
And
the
you couldn't
the
have
fake
convinced-
handoff, right? The
Dude.
fake handoff where he just goes,
No.
He's gonna hand it off
The
to
one
him.
we like went into Cincinnati and destroyed them, 21-3. Like the
Yeah.
one where Andy Dalton
Oh,
had
the
like
good-
a
the good game.
statistical like
Okay.
worst game any
Yeah.
starting quarterbacks ever had.
Yeah, where he had like a passer rating of 0.0.
It was like he had 3 picks for like 70 yards or something like that.
Yeah. It was like the worst. Yeah, it was the worst QBR of all time.
It was insane. That was definitely.
God, bring
I'd say
back
that
Mike
was the
Patton.
best game.
No, I'm kidding.
Bring him back, baby. Bring him
Bring
back.
back.
Bring back Big Pet.
Yeah, he was an
It's
underrated
just-
coach. Yeah.
He was. I loved him. I thought he was a good coach.
I did too.
But, I think this has been a great episode, boys.
Yeah, I think it's time to put a
Yeah.
bow on this one.
Yeah. It's
We're talking about bringing back Mike Patton, so we got
Oh
to end it.
yeah. All right. So let's end it with this, guys. As much as we're doom and gloom, the contest is still on, and we're trying to find a winner. So drop your score predictions. Tweet at us. Send us a message. We
and,
just gotta have a virtual thing of it. That's what I was getting to. We need to score predictions.
Yeah, we need score predictions, and there is a little bet between me and Mac. Whoever sells the most shirts
Yes.
wins, and the loser has to jump into Lake Erie, which I've got to do this weekend. Anyways, sadly, but
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're up 3-0. So by the way, KFC is up 3-0 in the bet. I was actually talking with somebody and they said, "Hey, send me a link. This is interesting. Yeah, like I'll help you out for sure." And they bought one of KFC's shirts because the whole reason why they wanted the link is to see me jump in the lake. So thanks for that. And I know they're watching right now, so thanks for that. But yeah, merch is out, as always. Like I said before, coffee mugs are great. And as well as we have that team hoodie with all the sayings on the back. So feel free to browse around the store. We'll drop the link.
we're going to drop one soon.
Of a
We don't
Matty
have
G
that anymore.
shirt on the back.
There is a Matty G shirt.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Well, no, we need a good Matty G.
Well, he hasn't sent Manny the picture yet.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Did you? Oh, well, Manny's got to get me the picture then that's edited, and then I'll pop it on there. But yeah, go buy some merch, support your favorite Browns podcast, and go Browns.
Hold on.
Oh.
We got to do score predictions. We got to do that. That was my whole point. We got to do the score predictions. So Mr. Positivity's all doom and gloom now.
No, I just didn't want to do them. Because
All
all I'm
doom
going to
and
hear
gloom.
is Ravens 932, Browns 2.
No, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go full, Bo Bishop and just ram it. No,
Ram it. I love the Cleveland Browns daily crew, man. They are top tier.
yeah, dude. We gotta.
Is
Oh,
Zeke
all
still
right.
on?
Yeah,
Huh? Yeah.
yeah. Is he still on there?
For some reason, I thought he left when he became a color analyst.
Mm-mm.
Oh no, he's there every day. They're still going.
All right.
But
So
yeah,
starting.
so I'll go. I'll start. It's as much as I would like to see the Browns win on Saturday. It's going to be my Graham's 89th birthday. So for her sake, I hope the Browns win, but it's going to be a tight one. They're going to lose by a Justin Tucker field goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's going to be like 19-16 Ravens.
I'm thinking 28-13 Ravens.
I'm going to say I'm obviously going to pick the Browns because I'm going to be there. So I'm going to say a win. I'm going to say Browns 21, Ravens 20, and you're going to see Deshaun Watson have his first game-winning drive with the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, then.
So, keep it tight.
You know what? Okay. I'm trying to think because I just
Are you getting
that
the?
would be that
Are you
would
getting
be
some of that brown
nuts.
juice?
No,
his first
I'm just,
game, first energy, and it's a
Right?
game-winner drive. Imagine. Because, I think that he takes another leap. I don't think it's like a drastic leap, but I think he has a better game than he did in Cincinnati. And I think he's going to start to, like, kind of win more of the fan base that he hasn't won over just yet.
I don't know, man. I would personally love to see that, and it would be, again, nice for the Browns to win on my Graham's birthday. Okay, I don't care about upsetting me, but like, please, like,
Do it for Mama Buffalo.
Yeah, dude.
Grandma
do it
Buff.
for Graham. Do it for Graham, please.
Do it for the Graham.
Do it for the Graham.
All right. I think this is a great way to end the episode. As always, go Browns.
Go Browns, baby.